Welcome to The Good Pod, where today we're talking The Good Wife, Season 3, Episode 5, Martha's and Caitlin's. I'm one of your hosts, Jason Reed. With me, as always, the Martha to my Caitlin, Marissa Garza. Marissa, you good?
Are you I'm good, Jason. Are you good?
I'm good.
Are you a tramp? What did she call
I'm a
it?
tramp boarder.
A tramp boarder?
I love tramp boarding.
Are you a tramp boarder?
Listen, meant something very different back in my high school days, but I was a tramp boarder, okay? Will's definitely a tramp boarder. We'll say that. We know
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, listen.
There were a lot of entendres like that in this episode.
Oh yeah. This was full of them. And yeah, I think that's a good comparison, right? Like, you are the Caitlin, you are the one that is coming in prepared. You've taken all your notes, you've done all this, you love foreign film, you this, you that.
I kind of do.
You are the one for the job, right? But I come in as a Martha. I'm just like, yeah, bro, I'm vibes, I'm good, like, I'm here.
But also, I mean, like, Will had a point. The Caitlin surprised you, so like,
Hey,
maybe
listen.
hey, don't. Yeah, I think we need a balance. It's like yin and yang. We need a Martha and a Caitlin. Also, I just want to say, I think they just kind of lazied this title, Martha and Caitlin.
Yeah,
that
really.
was it. Like, it was like, okay,
you could come up with something a little more creative.
Down goes the plane. Oh, that's too many. Or like,
yeah.
I don't know, but it was just like, oh, okay, it's Martha's and Caitlin.
And I mean, they really kind of they made it they made the title like the least interesting plot in the story. Like, why'd you call attention to that plot and nothing else? Like, I would have thought the return of Colin Sweeney would have been like the thing the title was based on.
They gotta hide it though. It was a good review.
Yeah, I guess.
We'll talk about it.
Before we get too deep into the episode, I want to remind you some free and easy ways that you can help this podcast. You can do that by reviewing, rating, and subscribing wherever you listen or wherever you watch. All those things really help us, get in the eyes and ears of more people. And you can also write to us at thegoodpodfeedback@gmail.com if you just want to chat it up with us about any and everything, really. We love to interact with the audience out there, love to talk about the show, love to answer any questions you guys have about our thoughts on the show. Yeah, so we would love to chop it up with you. So if you are so inclined, you can do that as well. As always, thank you so much for rating, reviewing, and subscribing wherever you are listening.
And I would like to make a special shout out to Sparrow. Sparrow on Spotify has been communicating with us a couple of times, and I just want to say thanks for listening, Sparrow. Thanks for sticking with us all this time, and I hope you're still enjoying the show.
Yeah, Sparrow's trying to dive deep on the Jason and Marissa mess arounds. The one to know about our Robin and Keevan podcast joint. I pointed them in the right direction. I hope they can find that. That was a lot of fun for us to do. But yeah, Marissa, let's get into the episode. Let's talk about this stuff around here. We got a lot happened.
Stuff and the things.
A lot happened here.
Yeah, I have like 4 blocks instead of just 3 blocks. So we got, and within one of the blocks, there's some other stuff. So there's a lot going on. Let's start with the case of the week. So the episode opens and Diane's like, this is about a plane crash. We're just getting the facts. A plane crash. There were 35 passengers. There were 5 crew members. They all died. What we didn't get to know is that this is a joint suit. And Diane is representing the passengers, and Celeste is representing the crew.
But you know what's funny?
She's inching in here.
You know what's funny? We heard about this case last episode when we were talking.
We're so good at paying attention.
Yeah, when we were talking about maybe getting Celeste in on the thing, when Celeste was giving her terms, she was like, "We want such and such percentage of the plane crash suit." And it was just like, at first, it's just like okay, like it's just some random thing you're talking about. But no, like they carried it on into the next episode. It's like, oh, okay, cool. Like, that's actually a pretty cool, like, little connective tissue they got going on. I can't wait till the next episode to see if Celeste is still here. Because I thought Celeste is going to be a 1 episode thing. And I was like, oh, Celeste was cool. She's here for an episode. But no, like, this is her 3rd episode in a row. It's like, okay, they got Lisa Edelstein on here for a good chunk of time. I'm interested to see how long she sticks around. And as we were coming into this episode, we heard Diane talking, and we saw someone loading a gun. And I was, Diane.
We did.
Diane, guns. Makes me think of. I was like, Kurt, is Kurt coming? Is Kurt here? Like, no, we didn't get Kurt. But we got another really great recurring person that we'll talk about when we get there. But it's like, I was like, ooh, is Kurt going to show up? Who loads a gun based off a manual? You know what I mean? It's like, let's see, how do I load this thing?
I don't know how to load a gun.
I mean,
I'd have to Google it.
That's true. Like, I feel like it's your first time, I guess, but to me, it feels self-explanatory. I would probably load it in backwards and end up like blowing the gun up when I try to pull the trigger. But it's just so funny to look at someone like reading a manual. Like, let's see now. How do I? Let me go to. Listen. Let me look at the glossary. Loading the gun. Page 3. Okay, let me go to page 3. Okay, you put the bullet in the little clip. Okay, I've got like for some reason I think I've watched too many movies and TV shows. I'd be like, I know how to load a gun. I've seen it done 1,000 times. But
yeah, because that's like everything you see on TV is true. Jason.
Oh, for sure.
Like, you're 100% right. Like, and they would 100% accurately show how to load a gun to millions of people over and over and over again.
Yeah,
of course.
Totally.
Yeah, totally. So we do see this happening as we are being told that like the reason that this crash happened was because of flawed airplane design, and they have this whistleblower who's gonna like tell everything about the case. But as Jason was saying, the whistleblower was up to something else, and he ends up dying by suicide, like while they're doing opening statements. And so that kind of crushes that strategy. And so Celeste is like, well, we have this tape. What if we try to use this tape where he's basically saying like the de-icing on the wings didn't work. That's the reason why there was this plane crash. And that's where they decide to go next. They know that like he can't testify beyond the grave, so
yeah, this was the deposition they had. Which, I think something that The Good Wife I've learned watching The Good Wife is about depositions. I didn't know that they were so important to a court case. I had heard the word deposition before, but I never knew exactly what happened there. But I feel like I've watched 1,000 depositions at this point watching The Good Wife. But yeah, like this, they say Celeste's like, you know what? Actually, might be a good thing he's dead. Like, okay, thank you, Celeste, like for the very, very like macabre, sense of whatever. But because they had a depo where this guy basically explains the whole thing, and we learned from Dan, well, they didn't really do a good job of cross-examining him in the deposition, so this really is only good for us. Like, they don't have a chance to even like put him on the stand and maybe like refute what he's saying by tripping him up on the stand. We just have this like very factual piece of evidence where he just says what is the problem, and they can't like do anything to try and refute that evidence. So I was like, okay, this is kind of like, this is not terrible for us. Not terrible.
Yeah. They decide to go straight to court and say, hey, can we admit this into evidence? And of course, the other side, the plaintiff in the situation,
the attorney for the plaintiff.
Are they on the defense? The attorney.
They're on defense. They're on the defense because our guys, our guys are suing them.
We're suing them.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Okay. So the lawyer on the defense, who I put in my notes as madman guy, but we have also seen in the good verse before. Jason, where did you recognize him from?
He's Rhoda. His last name Rhoda. He was the new hotshot lawyer that they were going to fire Patty Nyholm for in that episode, where she ended up suing her own law firm, and then she's double-crossing her firm, then double-crossing our firm to go back to her firm by the end of the episode. So we've seen Rhoda before. I don't know if Rhoda is still with that law firm or he decided to go to another law firm, or they fired Rhoda at the end of that episode. I don't remember. But yeah, we have seen Mr. Rhoda before. He doesn't really stand out to me. You know what I mean? Like we've seen many other defense or plaintiff lawyers before. He just doesn't give me that oomph that I'm looking for, in a character.
He's like just a straight up lawyer. Like he's just like, hey,
yeah,
we can't, we can't question this dude. Let's not bring this guy in. But also, hey, what about his suicide note that says it's a lie and I'm sorry? Mm-hmm. So we probably shouldn't be here. And Diane and Celeste are like, that's talking about the fact that there was a rumor that he slept with his babysitter. Obviously, it has nothing to do with this case. And the judge doesn't buy that and rules in Madman Guy's Rhoda's favor.
Yeah, the judge, who also we've seen him before, but also was just like, does not stick out. So this case was not, this episode is not really a big court episode where, we have these episodes where we focus a lot on the judge, we focus a lot on the other side of the courtroom, whether it be Carrie and State's attorney or some other lawyer. This one wasn't really a big like in court episode. We were in court a couple times, but it wasn't really a focus of the episode.
Yeah. So Diane, after learning that this is not going to go into evidence, of course, calls Kalinda right away. It's like, yo, Kalinda, I need you. She's like, okay, cool, but I'm doing stuff for Eli. How badly do you need me? She's like, right now. I need you to do stuff right now. So she's looking through some of the emails, and Kalinda finds an email, And there's two versions of this email. There's an email where there's two people on the CC line, and then there's an email where those two people are on the CC line, but there's an extra person on the BCC line. And I love how this was revealed to the audience, because we're just like, Diane's like, no. And Clinda's like, yeah. And I was like, who? CS at Herald Equity Group. I'm like, I still don't know who this is. I was like, oh, yeah, well, he's not a dependable witness, and I don't know if he would be helpful. And Diane's like, he won't talk to us. He's got to talk to Alicia. Who could it be, Jason? Who could it be?
It's Colin Sweeney. We love ourselves some Colin Sweeney around here. Yeah, I mean, he is definitely one of the more infamous players in the Good Wife verse, right? It's not the first nor the last time we'll see Colin Sweeney. He always comes and he always delivers. And when they said CS and everyone like started reacting, I was like, wait a minute. I was thinking CS. It's like, ooh, Colin Sweeney, and then lo and behold, it was Colin Sweeney. I was like, yes.
In my mind, I'm like, customer service, customer support. Like, I'm like, what is this?
Yeah,
but yeah.
I was like, Colin Sweeney episode.
Was there.
I was like, here we go. Let's go, Colin.
Yes. Yeah. So, of course, Alicia, the Colin Sweeney whisperer, has to go and check in with Colin Sweeney in jail. Colin's got, like a new persona, a new life. He's trying to live the jailed life while also being Colin Sweeney. He's got a tattoo. He's still Colin Sweeney, but he's, trying to fit in.
And I just love like how he, at one time wants to mess with Alicia and also wants to impress Alicia. He's like, check this out. Like, he's like moving his shoulder so that she can see the tattoo so she notices. And she's like, oh, yeah. You got a prison tat. Great. Awesome.
At the same time, Celeste is at the jail as well, because obviously this is her case as well. Before we get into the Colin Sweeney stuff, I do want to take a little detour to this conversation that was had before Alicia talks to Colin Sweeney. And Celeste is like really going to, she's like, hey, Alicia, we should share horror stories. And Alicia's like, horror stories? She's like, yeah, that's what I said, horror stories.
Oh.
And I just was like, swinging big, Celeste, swinging big.
Celeste is really like, is really like getting a good like impression on me. I'm like, I love Celeste. She is blunt. When you deal with the episode of Colin Sweeney, who is himself very blunt, then you have Celeste as well. It's an overwhelmingness of bluntness. She's like, yeah, you want to trade horror stories? She's like, wait, what'd you say? Like, horror or horror stories? Like, yeah, horror. What do you mean? What'd you think I said? Oh, yeah, Alicia, get your mind out of the gutter. Come on, girl. I thought that was so fun.
It is fun because Colin Sweeney and Alicia's back and forth is always fun as well, as we see exhibited here. Alicia is like, listen, I need your help. And he's like, oh, of course. Like, what can I, what can we do? Or what do you need my help with? And she's like, I need you to testify and in the stay of the whistleblower because you were at this meeting. He's like, yeah, okay, but like, would it help you? Like, she's like, it would help 40 families who lost their people. He's like, I think they're so adorable. Like, yeah, of course. But would it help you? And she's like, yeah, it would help me. They also have a conversation. Like, Colin's like, Alicia, why don't you like me? Like, you killed your wife. Like, I don't know how. So that tension that you're talking about is like, he wants to be liked, he wants to be respected, and also he wants his way. And so he's gonna try to get this to move in the way that he wants. And we know he's agreeing to this, but also has something else up his sleeve by the weird smile he gives at the end of this conversation.
I think like every time Colin Sweeney comes on, they just tell him like, okay, Dylan Baker, the actor who plays Colin Sweeney, we're gonna need you to just like up the creepiness just by like an inch, like just up the creepiness factor, because now he's even like it gets compared to Hannibal Lecter and Clarice Starling several times in this episode, well, at least a couple times in this episode, where it's like, yeah, that is what it feels like, where it's just like he's just like this like deranged person that it has this liking to this woman. Alicia is like, yeah, that is exactly what it is, because now you can just see he has this like you said, creepy smile on his face, like the Joker smile. Like, will it help you, Alicia? I really want to help you, Alicia, because you're like my like fascination for some reason. And it's because Alicia is a fantastic straight woman to all these other characters that comes into her orbit. Yeah. That's like her specialty. That is like, she is the person that is like the deadpan person where everyone else can bounce off of, and that is Alicia's thing. That's what that's what Colin Sweeney like vibes to. He's like, oh, you're just unflappable. I can say and do whatever I want, and you're just not going to react. And that's what I like about you. I like that he kind of likes that Alicia doesn't like him. It's his like personal mission to get Alicia to like him.
Yeah,
it's so crazy.
Well, I mean, like, he is a murderer. He likes a challenge.
Yeah.
In this situation, so he agrees with his creepy smile, and then he testifies in court via closed circuit video. So he's in jail. Everybody else is in the courtroom. Colin is like, how do I look? Like, he's still very, very Colin Sweeney about it. And he's also picking up on the vibe between Alicia and Celeste. He's like, what's going on here? What? And Celeste is like, we're dating each other, but she wants to leave me for a man that doesn't deserve her.
And it's interesting, right? Because
so funny.
Because like, before this, the vibes were very icy between Alicia and Celeste for obvious reasons. And this is like the starting of the thawing of the relationship, because Celeste is like, yeah, we're secret lovers, and she wants to leave me for a man that's not worth her time. And Alicia does not she does not deny it. She's like, I don't. She's like, oh, Alicia's like, oh, I see what's going on. She's like, I don't want to talk about it. It's like, oh, Alicia, Alicia, you're playing now. You're playing the game. Okay, you're like, this is the thawing is happening a little bit. And it's like,
yes.
And Colin's like, oh, if only it were true. If only it were true. Yeah. Like he's not falling for it at all. Like, I love Alicia. She's like, how do I look? She's like, just might want to hide your tattoo. He's like, oh, like, you want me to be ashamed of my prison tats, Alicia? It's like, just the three of them in that room was just like this energy was really there.
Yeah, and I mean, like, Alicia knows Colin Sweeney's game. Celeste doesn't. So Celeste is like, answer short and sweet. Like, just focus, like, truthful, but not too truthful, but also like stay focused, all of the stuff. And Alicia's just like, I can't say anything to him because I know he's going to do what he does. And so Diane starts questioning Colin, and Colin Sweeney is himself in this situation, because he's like, starts to answer, but then all of a sudden he gets like really fidgety. He's like, oh, I can't. And the feed cuts. And so Diane hides this by saying, like, Colin is having some health issues. And meanwhile, back in the room, Colin's like, listen, I want something from you. If I'm going to do this for you, you're going to do something for me. And I want my freedom, and I have something that I can offer the state's attorney. So help me out.
But I also love,
if you want this.
Yeah, I also love that Alicia knows who she's dealing with, because she sees Colin being all weird. She's like, "Oh, he's trying to screw us over. Let's cut this now. I already know what's happening. He's trying to do something. I don't know what he's trying to do, but let's get him off the TV." And yeah, like you said, he says, "I want to get out of here. I want to be out of prison." Like, well, you could have said that before we started all this, because we could have talked about that before. But okay, you got to be weird, Colin Sweeney. So we'll do whatever.
Then we get a great scene in Carrie's office. Like, everybody is here. We've got Diane and Alicia, and then we've got Celeste and her people. Like, everybody is here. And they're like, hey, so we want you to free Colin Sweeney because he has information on drugs in prison. Like, isn't this something that you want to go after? It's like, oh, look at my new friend Amani. Like, what do you think about this, Amani? The AUSA, who we met last episode, who's here to make sure that deals are done without bias or anything like that. And she's like, no, we shouldn't do this. Diane leans in and is like, you might want to talk to your boss, Peter, about this, because he's all about ending corruption in the system and all of this stuff. And Carrie's like, yeah, sure. Okay, let me go ask the boss. He walks outside with a body and just chit-chats it up. He's like, hey, tell me about your family. Are you the only lawyer in the family? Stuff. Where did you go? And I'm sure I knew this before, but the fact that Carrie went to Harvard is great Gilmore Girls lore. If you know, you know.
Mm-hmm. I love that Carrie's like really feeling himself now in this position. He's like, I'm not gonna go talk to Peter. I can take care of this myself. Even going so far to like do this in front of Amani, who Amani is basically here to be like, I don't know, feels like almost Peter's snitch. And so it's just like, he takes her out in the hallway. He's like, yeah, it's listen, I've worked retail for a long time. Okay. This really gave the energy of cut, like something's not on the floor. Customer's like, hey, can you check to make sure this is not in the back? Like, yeah, yeah, I got it. I'll go check to make sure.
Right
You
there.
walk back
Yeah.
into the back room. You sit there for 5 minutes, looking at your phone. You're like, like, all right, it's been about enough time. Like, yeah, I looked all around the back. I looked everywhere. Did not find another toaster oven for you. I'm so sorry. It's like that just gives that energy. I'm like, yeah, let me go do that important thing for you. Let me make sure I do that for you.
Yeah.
It's like, nah, I'm not gonna
Yeah.
do that. I'm not gonna waste my time with that. That's something that I already know. I'm not gonna waste my time. And like, yeah, he comes back. Like, he comes back. I'm like, Alicia is like sitting on his desk. I'm like, Alicia, you are very familiar here. Like, like I understand you got a new haircut and everything, but you're sitting on people's desks. Get off that man's desk, Alicia. My gosh.
Yeah, but he comes in and like you said, his confidence is up there because he's already got a plan. He's like, yeah, okay, we can make this deal, but it has to be with this particular person. Donnie, what's his name? I forgot. Donnie Pike.
Donnie Pike.
We need to get information on Donnie Pike, and apparently he's the most dangerous man in the system. And Kira's like, you want to freedom? This is what you got to do.
Alicia's like,
this is it.
Alicia's like, Donnie Pike, the Donnie Pike. We can't go with Donnie Pike.
Like
Carrie.
El Chapo.
Yeah.
El Chapo.
It's like I feel like we should have heard this man's name before. He's so infamous. Alicia's like, not Donnie Pike, Carrie. Anybody with Donnie Pike. And then Carrie's like, no, it's gotta be Donnie Pike. He and Colin Sweeney are best buds. Like he's got to flip on Donnie Pike. I was like, okay, like Donnie Pike is somebody apparently.
He's somebody. And so Carrie, of course, has to talk about this deal, with his boss and some other people in the office. Jason, I'll let you take this. Who do we see in the office?
Geneva, aka Angelica. Geneva's back.
Angelica.
Yeah, I was like, oh, Geneva and Amani in the same room. Oh, be still my beating heart.
Yeah.
I was like, no way.
Yeah, for like one scene.
For one scene,
we got both of them.
Less than 5 minutes, they're in the same room talking, arguing against each other. I was like, oh my gosh, is this a like passing of the baton? Geneva's like, all right, Amani, I'm back. You can leave now. I was gone for a minute. They brought you in, but I'm back. I'm the black lady in the SA's office. I can take back over now. I don't know how long Amani's gonna be here or how many more appearances we have with Geneva, but I was happy that Geneva was back, going up against, arguing with Peter like she likes to do, or arguing with whoever the SA is at the time, because she was arguing with Glenn Childs back in the day. Now she's arguing with Peter. And yeah, so like I loved having Geneva, aka Renee Elise Golberry, back in the building. It's always good to see her.
I will say also good timing because Renee has been making the rounds. It is the 10-year anniversary of Hamilton. And so she's been making a lot of appearances. So if you are a Hamilton fan, check out the internet. There's a lot of good stuff there.
Yeah.
But yes, Geneva is back and she is arguing with Carrie in front of Peter because she is the one who put Donnie Pike behind prison. Or she's the one who put Colin Sweeney behind bars. Colin Sweeney behind bars. And she's like, listen, you can't let this guy out. I put him there and no one's really going to believe him. And Carrie's like, yeah, but if we're using Colin Sweeney to get rid of this neo-Nazi dude, the public will be behind Peter. And then Peter's like, hey, other black lady, what do you think about getting rid of this neo-Nazi white supremacist in jail? And she's like, yeah, that's good.
Yeah, do it. Do it.
Yeah, do it. And, Geneva makes the point that no one will really trust Colin Sweeney. And so Peter's like, Geneva, would you make the deal if it was anyone else? And she's like, yeah. So Peter takes into account, though, what Geneva had said and said, okay, Carrie, you can make this deal, but Colin's going to have to do a little bit more than just tell us information. He's going to have to wear a wire and get information straight from Donnie himself.
Yeah, that is the caveats. We're like, yeah, we don't trust a word that Colin says, so we need to hear it for ourselves, basically.
Yeah, exactly. So Colin is brought into this transfer van, and everyone is in the van. He's like, oh man, the quality of detainees has gone down. And Carrie's like, we're here to make a deal. We have something for you. But he has blindsided Celeste and Alicia here with this wire stipulation. He's like, you're going to have to wear a wire and you have 3 hours to basically get Donnie Pike to admit to his latest murder. And Alicia's like, it's too dangerous. You can't do it. And so let's listen, it's his decision if he wants to do it. So he decides to go ahead and do it. Before we get back to Colin Sweeney, see, again, a little Celeste detour presents itself. Celeste tells Alicia that Will is smitten in this world.
So it's interesting to me that Alicia at least they're talking about the whole Will, like Celeste is basically telling her like, I know like about you and Will, like Will is smitten with you. And Alicia's like, what? Will? What are you talking about? I'm not with Will, girl. I'm married to the state's attorney. What do you mean? And basically, like at some point, Alicia's like, yeah. What of it? Like what about it? Like let's real talk. Like I know so let's really talk here. And I love the back and forth they have because Celeste is like, Will's acting all high school. He's like, so he's all,
Yes.
he's very vanilla about you. Like, no offense, very vanilla. And Alicia throws it right back at her. She's like, oh yeah, well you're the one trying to like do dirt on Will, so obviously you're also kind of high school yourself. So I gotta love the bantering back and forth they had.
She's like, yeah, you broke up with him like what, years ago, like 9 years ago, and you're still talking about him? Like that's so high school. And then Celeste, after this whole situation comes up, she's like, okay, like let's go get a drink. And we learn a little bit about Celeste. Celeste finds women uninteresting. She thinks it's much easier to compete with men, which I'm like, oh my gosh, internalized misogyny. Like watch out, Celeste. Like rinse it out of your brain. Like I want to save you.
Well, I mean, it's also that she's like, women always she is comfortable competing with men, but women always want to compete with her. Like she's like,
and she doesn't want to compete.
Yeah, she's like, I am the top woman. Like no one is even like up to me, but women always want to try and compete with me. I'm always a problem apparently with women, females. Am I right? Like it's almost like it's almost that vibe where it's like these females just don't know how to act. It's like. So it's really evident in how Celeste carries herself and how Celeste is trying to undermine Alicia in this relationship that's not even a part of. Like I don't even think she's that interested in Will. It's more about just like effing with Will and Alicia because she feels like Alicia is like infringing on her territory, which isn't even her territory anymore. Which is like was past territory.
But she straight up says to Alicia, like, I want to break you up. I don't like that you are with Will and I want to break you up. And also, like, Will's always going to disappoint you. Like, I could tell you the truth about Will. Like, it was just, $45,000 and then he put it back. And Alicia's like, what? Like, okay, that was it. And I don't know. I don't remember what Alicia knows about this, but this is definitely referring to his time in Baltimore.
Yeah.
And what happened, that kind of all the stuff that came up with Blake and all that is still kind of haunting Will. And this is Celeste's way of saying, like, Will might not be the person you think he is. He's always going to have this kind of hanging over him.
Yeah, I'm wondering when we're going to get more information about this because it's interesting they brought this back into the world, right? Because I felt like this has kind of died with the Blake of it all because listen, based on the show, like you would never even know or remember that Blake or Bond even happened. Like we don't get any mention of that era anymore. So it's interesting that we got this brought back up because I assume that is what Blake got Will out of trouble for way back when or whatever they were talking about last season. So I was like, I'm wondering if we'll get way more info or details about this. So I'm really curious to know what this is actually about and how that will come to light. So yeah, that was very, very interesting that they just kind of dropped that in there. I was like, oh, okay. Like, and Alicia goes, 45,000, is that it? Like, okay. I don't think you know exactly what
it's a lot. Yeah. Like, especially back then, it was like a whole salary. Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, it is still for some people, but inflation has. Anyway, I was like, what is $45,000? That was where my brain went. Anyway, it's time to do the wire with Colin Sweeney in the yard. So Colin basically has to get Donnie Pike to admit that he was behind a killing that happened in Garfield Park. Someone was killed. They would trace it back to him, but they want Donnie Pike to basically said, I did this. And I love, again, just like the repertoire between Colin and Alicia here, because Alicia says, don't get yourself killed. And he's like, words to live by. It's just so good.
Yeah, you just see Alicia's like care for Colin Sweeney. Like she hates Colin Sweeney, but she also is like she talks with Celeste earlier and Celeste's like, you kind of like this guy. He's like, I just don't want him to die. Like, is that like that's so crazy? but no, you do see the genuine care she has for Colin Sweeney in a way. She's like, just don't get yourself killed, man. Just be careful, be cool.
Colin Sweeney gets pretty close to getting himself killed in this situation. Like, he just walks up. Apparently, the relationship between Colin and Donnie, not Connie, but Colin and Donnie, is that Colin has been giving Donnie stock tips. So they start the conversation off. Did you hear HP? Don't worry, sell, blah, blah, blah. And then Colin just goes right in.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, hey, did you hear about what happened in Garfield Park? Was that you? And he's like, whoa, what are you talking about? Like, you're like my little pet. Don't make me get rid of you.
He basically,
big wall up.
He
right
basically
away.
says everything, but he just like, can you talk into this lapel? I have a microphone here, and the essay is listening. Can you just confess to everything you've done? He basically just did everything but that. It's just like, hey, did you kill someone in Garfield Park? I heard about that. It's like, wow, you're just really. I mean, I don't know how you're supposed to really get into this. Like, it's almost like Double Dutch. You got to find the right,
the rhythm
to get in. But he just basically crashes into the rope and is like, hey, I heard you killed somebody. Is that true? Speak closely into my jacket, please.
But then he regroups. He takes some time, reapproaches Donnie. The boys are circling Colin. People are getting nervous. Mm-hmm. Alicia wants Carrie to send people in, but Carrie's like, I haven't gotten what I wanted, so there would be no deal. So let's just wait a little bit longer. And Colin says, hey, Donnie, I want to get my VP murdered because of what he did to me outside of here. He put me in here. Like, if you did Garfield Park, I want you to help me, basically. So how did it work? How did this happen? And Donnie's like, yeah, Garfield Park. That was me. Yeah. I was like, okay, that was it. So then Alicia got the order, and Colin Sweeney was freed.
Yeah, and it was like, I do like how he regrouped and how he like got back to it, because I like the exasperated look on Carrie's face. He's like, this guy, like, what is wrong with this guy? He's just basically coming in and just like messing this whole thing up. He's going to get himself killed. At least like, Carrie, calm the guards. Call the guards. Like, get the guards ready, but not calling him in yet. Like, it's like, Carrie's like, I don't want this guy to get killed on my watch, but I want what I want. So it's like, he's like, oh, what am I going to do? But yeah, Colin Conn does get what he wants here. And yeah, it was just like another just an abrupt end of a case, because Colin's on stand. He's like, did you hear about the problem with the plane? He's like, yep. And it's like, done. It's like, and then we just hear that.
Yeah, it was like, yep, it wasn't good. That's it.
That's it.
I mean, this was more about Colin Sweeney than it was about, unfortunately, the 40 people who died in this plane crash. But yeah, he's just like, he shows up all, Colin Sweeney. So he's back and out. So I wonder how long it'll be till we see him again. But it was fun. It was a fun little interlude in the episode. Anything else on the case? We had some other stuff going on.
No, I think you said it well. The case was not actually the case. It was we were more talking about how we're going to get Colin Sweeney out of jail so that we can have more appearances for Colin later on the line where he's not in jail. He can do whatever he wants. He can be arrested for whatever while he's out in the world. So we have more fodder for Colin coming up in future seasons, I would imagine. But yeah, again, just another great turn by Dylan Baker as Colin Sweeney. He never disappoints in this role. He's always delightfully creepy and delightfully, just getting under Alicia's skin in the best way.
And also, like, wanting me to cheer for him at the same time.
Yes,
like,
exactly.
It's like all of this mixed together. I'm like, I would not want to be friends with you, but I am cheering for you.
It's the mark.
I don't know why.
It's the mark of a great character / villain. Yeah. That you want to actually kind of root for this villain to get out of jail or whatever it is that he does. And it really made you remember, like, where are we with Colin Sweeney? Because they kept calling him the wife killer, but that's not what he actually went to jail for. Like, because Diane mentioned at some point, like, he didn't actually go to jail for killing his wife. He went to jail for the defensive killing of a stalker. I was like, oh yeah, that's right. He went to jail for killing his kink partner last season. It was like, it was more like he killed his dog and made it look like she killed the dog.
Yes.
It was wild. And if you don't remember that, go back to our episode on that, because that was reminding me of that while watching episodes. Like, oh yeah, that was a really weird thing he's in jail for. But yeah, I loved the Colin Sweeney of it all, and happy he was back in this episode.
Yes, good to see a friendly face. At Firm, Alicia's been put in charge of hiring a new associate, and it starts off by Will calling her into her office, and she's like, "Oh, hello, sir," and he's like, "David Lee is here."
Like, not now, girl, not now.
We got some other things. Yeah, we got some other things to talk about. And basically, David and Will are heading up the hiring committee and want Alicia to hire the new person. At the end of this conversation, Will gives Alicia a little bit of a warning about Celeste. Is like, hey, I know how she works. She's going to try to get under your skin, you know. And then there's just this cute little like Celeste waves to Will and Will's like, hey.
Yeah.
Back. It was fun.
He's got to be itching knowing that Celeste is around and talking to Alicia. Like, it's got to be on his mind throughout the day. Like, what are they talking about? What is she saying about me? What are they doing?
Right.
I did appreciate,
and in
though,
like so many ways,
yeah.
like so many topics could be brought up.
And I did appreciate how Will wasn't really a huge part of that Alicia Celeste thing. They were just left to gab about him by their lonesome. I like how he wasn't trying to butt in. But yeah, he's obviously pretty nervous about this. And I love that they bring Alicia in like, hey, you're gonna be like hiring someone. We're giving you more responsibility. And Alicia's like, thank you so much, Will. And was like, no, it wasn't me. It was David. And Will's like, we're still supposed to be.
It was David.
It's like, we're still supposed to be tense with each other, remember? And I was like, oh, you're still trying to do that? Like, I haven't really seen that in your other interactions, but fine, whatever. Because, Alicia, I think, is like, Will, like, oh my God, like, thank you so much. Like, Will, like, you let me do this? Like, oh, thank you, boo. He's like, nope, it's not a boo thing. This is all David. It's all David's thing.
Yes. It is all David's thing. So Alicia goes and interviews. There's 2 top candidates. We got Caitlin and we got Martha. Caitlin looked familiar to me. Martha did not. I just finished watching the last season of You, and I am also a Pitch Perfect fan. So seeing Caitlin, aka Anna Camp.
Anna Camp.
I totally forgot she was in this show.
Yes, for sure. But I'll tell you, halfway through the episode, I was like, oh yeah, I do remember this storyline coming up.
Yes, I remember. Yes.
Yeah. And I mean, this is not going to be the last time we see Anna Camp. She's going to be here a little bit. And it's so bizarre because Anna Camp is in the pop culture news these days.
Yes. Yes, she's made a life decision. She's doing things and stuff with women.
Yeah,
it's great. I'm happy for her.
Yeah, she is dating a woman. I don't think we previously knew that Anna Camp was part of that community, but
I don't think she did.
Right? I don't know exactly, but I mean, it's literally the last couple weeks it's come out that she's dating a woman, which was not her thing previously. So it's bizarre how these things match up in our world to be like this show from 2012 and how it's still relevant today by talking about Anna Camp, who's in the news. So it's kind of bizarre to me, but yeah, Caitlin and Martha are
and
here.
the last season of You, she's in there, and that just came out recently too. So I was like, oh my gosh, it's like the universe called us this timing for us to watch this episode.
Yeah, it's almost like the universe is like revolving around us, and like,
obviously. I mean
totally.
You want to be part of this podcast because I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, like, do you even exist if you don't listen to this podcast? Do you even what? Because you are only here to serve as listeners and watchers of this podcast for us because the universe revolves around us. So I mean.
Around us.
That's the only reason y'all are here.
I thought it was pretty clear.
Yeah, that's the only reason y'all are here to listen and watch us.
Oh boy.
So, obviously.
Okay, so she's interviewing. Caitlin is like a blonde. She's Anna Camp. She's Anna Camp in front of Alicia Florrick. Like, this is basically, she's perky, she's enthusiastic, she wants to work here. She's a tramp boarder, which, I mean, I know it was the era of the X Games. Like, I know we had this thing, but I didn't even know that was a thing. Trampolining on a snowboard? On a skateboard? On a board.
Yeah, skateboard without wheels, and you're doing tricks on a trampoline.
Just like a snowboard. Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
The seam. I know it's not the same form.
A snowboard is a little longer than a skateboard. It's curved on the ends. So I mean, not exact. Well, skateboard's
okay.
Well, yeah.
But I just said like.
Okay, yes.
Like.
Yes. Synonymous with skateboard, snowboard, whatever. But yeah, yes. I guess I could see that being a thing now that she mentions it, but it's not something I would organically come up with myself.
Yeah. Martha, on the other hand, she loves old movies. She's just like, hey, I'm basically an overachiever. I stay inside. I'm an introvert. And Martha's telling Alicia, hey, I've got a job offer already, but I really wanted to come here because I love the family environment. I was like, oh,
girl, you don't know.
Red flag. Red flag.
You don't know what you're dealing with. You don't know what this place at all. Then that's what that tells me because we ain't family. We backstab each other. Listen, man, this is kind of like a family. No, I think
it is kind of like a family, but also like It's also not. Like, also, you don't what I don't know. Just because the universe revolves around us, people who are listening just don't work for a company that says they are like a family.
Yeah,
like,
it's red flag. It's red flag number
like
one.
that, you don't want to do that.
Marissa, since
yeah,
I just looked up tramp boarding. Okay, on my phone.
Oh my! What did you learn?
It's definitely a mid 2010s thing, because like everything I'm getting is like from 2012, 2014. So this was a thing back in the day, but not so much now. Yeah.
I don't think it's real.
It's real. There's a tramp boarding.
No, I mean like now.
Yeah, not now. There's a tramp boarding Reddit post from 12 years ago. That's about, it's about the thing. Yeah.
Do you think like the tramp boarders when this came out were like, first of all, probably none of them were watching The Good Wife, but if they were, or their parents, do you think their parents were like, tramp boarding made The Good Wife?
Yeah, like you gotta have a Google alert set for tramp boarding, and you're like, wait a minute, The Good Wife's talking about tramp boarding? Finally, we're getting recognition. We're gonna be big, and CBS talking about us. Tramp boarding is gonna be the next big thing. X Games, here we come. Like,
yeah, probably. That's probably how that went. Okay, so Martha's got another job. She's waiting to hear from Alicia's like, just wait a little bit longer. I will let you know about this one. David Lee then comes in to talk to Alicia and he's like, hey, how's it going? Like, isn't it great? Like, aren't they great? Isn't Caitlin in particular fantastic? Like, isn't it great? She's my niece. Okay, gotta go.
Like, Alicia's like, wait, what? Huh?
That's it.
She's like, wait, huh? What? It's like, yeah. She's my niece, but don't want any nepotism, don't want any special treatment, but just thought I'd just drop that in there that she's my niece, just for no reason. Don't worry about it. Just put it out of your head. I don't even know why I said it. I don't know why I mentioned it. Just forget it. Just forget it.
Just say it. Yeah, just FYI.
Just do what you would normally do. Just go about your business.
Just do what you would normally do, but also she's my niece, and also, you like your job, she's my niece. Like, that's pretty much the message that is being sent. But Alicia, again, is so like taking this responsibility so seriously and also wants to do well. She's on the phone with Will and is like, I didn't know about this. And Will's just like, who's the better lawyer? Like, just go with that. Like, who is the better lawyer? But they're all like, I don't know. Alicia was like, I don't know, Will, what do you think? Like, she was a little giggly. She was a little swoony. I don't know.
Like, oh, you hang up. No, you hang up. Oh my God. Yeah. So silly. It's like, and you can tell as Alicia is interviewing Caitlin and Martha that she definitely has a preference to Martha. Like, you can tell because Martha is like the person that Alicia feels like she identifies with the most. And she's like, you're smart just like me. You're no nonsense just like me. You're just like me, girl. Like, I feel you. You just feel that she's going towards the Martha decision at this point.
Yeah, well, because also part of this was not only do you get to hire this person, you get to mentor this person. So she's like, oh, okay, like this is a good match for me. David does not react well to knowing that this is where Alicia's mind is at. He's big mad. He's big mad. He basically comes in while Celeste and Alicia were talking about the case and is like, I told you that Caitlin was my niece. Like, I don't know what else you need to know. That's what I'm telling you. And don't ever cross me again. Like, you don't want to get in David Lee's bad side. You really don't. But he then explains, like, you are a third-year associate. We gave you this task because you could do it and you could take a hint. So take the hint or we will take it out of your hands. And I was like, okay.
Listen, Marissa undersold it. This man busted in like the Kool-Aid man. He was like, hey. Yeah. I hear you're not trying to hire my niece. And Alicia's like, I thought you said to like just go as I normally would. It's like, yeah, and you're supposed to take an effing hit. Like he tells her you are unimportant. Like, we gave you this task because you were unimportant, and we thought you could take a hint. Yeah. Like, it's not nepotism. It is making the right decision, which is hiring my niece. Alicia's like, come on, girl. Like, are you this dumb? Are you this stupid? It's basically like, it's like, wow. Like you said, like, don't dare cross me again. And to do this in front of Celeste is like, whoa. Like,
that was the impetus for them going to get the drink, because Celeste was like, oh, okay, well, we should go out and have a drink.
Yeah, I love me some David Lee, and this was like, whoo. I was like, oh my, like yes, I kind of love this, like going off from David Lee. I don't know why. I don't know why Alicia did not think this would be the reaction to not hiring his niece. Like, do you know David Lee? Have you met David Lee? Like, I don't know why you thought this was gonna go any other way.
Well, also earlier in this episode, David Lee is like still trying to protect Alicia from her divorce situation. He's like, listen, I know you want to send your kids to private school, but you can't really do that because then that will basically show the court that you could support your husband.
Yeah.
And you need your husband to pay for part of this. So like in David Lee's mind, he goes in and he's like, hey, I'm going to tell Alicia that I still have her back in this divorce thing, even though she doesn't necessarily want to do this divorce. And then also, then the next thing I'm going to tell her is my niece is up for this gig.
Quid pro quo, like, girl, quid pro quo. Yeah, what is wrong with you? Yeah.
Like he's like, did you not pick that up? Did you not like he's baffled and also very mad.
Very mad. Extremely mad.
Very bad. And then poor Martha gets called back into Alicia's office and she already knows she didn't get the job. Alicia's like, I just wanted to talk to you. And Martha's like, I know I didn't get it. The hiring committee called me. They already decided. She's like, no, they didn't because I didn't decide. She's like, no, they decided. Like they did this.
It's like, oh, Alicia, you sweet spirit. bless your heart, Alicia. Bless your heart. You thought you had actual authority and power in this. Like, no, babe, you were a pawn in David's game and you didn't take the hint, so he went over your head and got his niece hired. Like, oh, Alicia, you still think you guys on power, Alicia? Oh, that's so sweet. She's like, no, because I didn't make the decision. Oh, Alicia. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh, girl, no. I just love like Martha's like, oh, I don't know what I did wrong. Like I thought me and you were vibing, Alicia, and then it's like, I get called by some other people and were told I didn't get the jobs. Like that's gotta suck. That really does.
And then the next thing we see is David Lee walking in with Caitlin and is like, this is the floor. This is where you go. And then Caitlin goes up to Alicia and is like, David told me it was all you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much I'm so looking forward to working with you and being here. Like, oh my gosh, Alicia, you're like so high up in my world now because of all of this. And Alicia's like, my pleasure. So happy to do it.
And I love the fact that I'm going to be mentoring you, the person that I did not want to hire, that I'm now stuck with you, basically. I love that for me. I really love that for me.
Well, and she learned throughout these conversations that it was a close vote. So she goes in and she's like, what's up, Will? Like, why did you give me this responsibility if you were just basically going to take it away from me? And he's like,
listen,
because we just did.
Yeah, we saw David Lee, Kool-Aid Man, Alicia Kool-Aid Man's Will. She's like, hey, what the hell, bro?
Yeah. And Alicia asks Will, like, which way did you vote? And he's like, I voted with David Lee. She's like, why? And he's like, you don't want to know. She's like, no, I do want to know, because she's got in her mind all of the stuff that Celeste has been putting in her brain, right? Like, he will disappoint you. He will do this stuff. So why did you do it? And Will is honest and says, I owed him because you were the Caitlin in your hiring situation. And I asked that David vote with me, and he did. And so I owed him.
That was quite a revelation, because it's like really kind of change your perspective on everything, right? On Alicia getting hired way back when, on the adamancy of Will to have Alicia at the firm. Like we knew that, you know, Will wasn't in for Alicia, but this was like, Will's like, in. I need her here. I freaking love Alicia. No, I mean she's a great lawyer. I need her here at this firm. And it also is like a weird reality check for Alicia, because Alicia's like, wait, I'm the Caitlin? I'm not the Martha?
Right.
I was sure I was the Martha. There was somebody that was more qualified than me. Like, it's almost like a hit to the ego of like, wow, like she was probably looking at Caitlin as just like this like vapid, like, you know, kid that, you know, isn't serious about anything. She's like, wow, I was the Caitlin. Interesting. It would be wild.
And Will tries to save himself.
Yeah, though.
And he's like, sometimes, you know, the Caitlin surprise you. Like, you turned out okay, so she's gonna turn out okay. Like, don't worry about it. And she, as she's leaving his office, like sees Celeste in another room, and is just like, she just pauses for a moment, and I think she's thinking like, oh, that was disappointing. Will was disappointing me. That's what Celeste said.
I read it different. I read it a little differently.
How did you read it?
I read it as if like, you said he would disappoint me, but he didn't disappoint me because he stood up for me way back when.
Oh,
like that's how I read that. It's like, he didn't disappoint me. He actually, he's the reason I'm here. It's not disappointing. Yes, he voted with David this time, but only because he stuck his neck out for me in the first place to get me here. That's how I kind of read that. Because after Will tells her all this, she like softens up a little bit. She's like, oh, okay, cool. Like,
well, she's like, thank you for telling. She appreciates the honesty.
She appreciates the honesty. She appreciates that he stuck himself out for her. Like, he is her David Lee, basically. Like, you stuck your neck out for me. You made a deal with the devil to get me here. So she kind of appreciates that, I think. And like, I wish, because that look is kind of, I don't know what.
Like, she's thinking about something. She could be thinking about any number of things, but she's thinking about something.
So it's interesting that we have two different perspectives of what the look meant, which kind of tells me that they didn't really. I wish it was more definitive, right? Like, I wish it would have had like a conversation like, well, Will didn't actually disappoint me. He actually, I found out, stuck his neck out for me, years ago. So I don't know. It was weird. I wish they wouldn't have had another look, because I don't know. The look is not definitive to me.
I think the takeaway for us as the audience is that she's thinking now. Yes. She wasn't really thinking before. She was just having fun. She was just doing all this stuff, but now she's thinking. And how is that going to change the relationship between the two of them? Will it bring them closer? Will that push them away? Like, how is that going to go? So we shall see. We got two other things in this episode, Jason, to talk about. Eli has gotten his own little section in our lineup here because his stuff is just his stuff now. And also, I should say, like, the Eli Kalinda of it all, because if you notice when our talk about the case, Kalinda was basically talking to Diane, wasn't talking to Alicia, and Kalinda was working with Eli. So I think the split has happened.
Yeah, and
the great schism of the Good Wife has occurred.
Yeah, and our Alicia Kalinda, weekly check-in. No scenes shared. Never in the same room. Not even a conversation in this episode.
Yeah.
Whereas last episode, I feel like it surprised us a little bit by them being in the same room. They didn't really have a conversation, but they were in the same room last episode. So they told us. But yeah, this one, just no interaction at all.
Yeah. Eli. Okay. So Eli wants Peter to have the keynote at the Democratic National Convention. Eli is also equating Peter Florrick with Barack Obama, which I cannot stand on a number of levels. But it's like so many levels. But he really thinks that Peter's got the story of rebirth. Like, he went to jail, he came out, he got all this stuff, and he could talk at the DNC. And Frank from the DNC is like, I don't think so, bro. We got this other guy, Adam Spellman. He's going to be our speaker. And he also says to Eli, don't worry about it. Peter doesn't need a speech. He's got this marriage. Like, if he's going to run, he's got the marriage. He doesn't need the speech. And yeah. Okay, sure. That's what happened.
Eli's like, yep, totally. The marriage, which is a totally healthy situation, which is totally going to work in our favor, and nothing weird's going on there at all.
Nothing's weird.
Yeah.
Nothing's weird. Not at all. So Eli asks Kalinda to vet Adam Spellman, and she finds out that he is the head of the Black Leadership Council, and she finds out that his wife gave money to the Defense of Marriage Act. What a callback. What a callback. This was before the Supreme Court decision on gay marriage, which is in peril today. So just keeping on top of things. But his wife supported the Defense of Marriage Act, and they knew or it would be a problem. And so he covered it up. And this is like music to Eli's ears. He's just like, oh my God, not only was it a thing, but there was a cover up. People hate the cover up. This is the whole thing. great work, Kalinda. Love it. We got these other names. Go see what you can find out about them. And Kalinda's like, why? Why do you want me to do this? And he says, oh, for Peter, of course. And she's like, nope, I'm out. Oh, bye.
Just the name, Peter Falk is like, oh, yeah, not touching that. Like, that is poison to me. I will not take that. And it's really interesting because we've seen this before from Kalinda recently, where if it has something to do with Peter, she's like, nope. Not gonna work for not gonna work for Peter, not gonna do this for Peter, not gonna do that for Peter. Don't even mention the name Peter to me. And I think it's interesting because what is the impetus of this? Is it to at some point try and get back in Alicia's good graces to be like, I'm not helping Peter, so maybe we can be friends? Like, I am like, I don't want it to be seen that I'm working with Peter. I don't want words to get back to Alicia that I'm helping Peter in any way. I don't want my name associated with Peter in Alicia's mind at all. Like, because really it's not like Peter and Kalinda had a consensual act back in the day.
Had a relation.
Not a relationship, but a relation.
Nope, just a relation.
They did some stuff. They tramp boarded with each other. Let's just say that, right? Like, so it's not as if Peter did something to her. Like, they did stuff together. So it's not like, so how are you reading this?
I think Kalinda, based on everything that was in front of her last season, like her life almost came apart. There's a grand jury thing. There was the Blake stuff. There was the Peter stuff. Like, I think she's really at a point where she's like, okay, like, what am I doing? Like, she's trying to reevaluate her life. And I think that this she sees as a penance. Like, she's not telling Alicia. She's not like basically, keeping a scorecard of all of the things that she's not done for Peter. But I think this is for herself to right the wrong of not telling her friends. She doesn't have a lot of friends, and that's been talked about a number of times in the series. I don't have a lot of friends. I can't trust a lot of people. Alicia was one of the people that she could trust and was a friend. And so I think she's trying to like right the wrong within herself. And if it pays out that, Alicia comes back into the fold, that's great for which could happen, but that would be great. But I think she's really kind of turning inside, which is unfortunately, I think, a byproduct of this whole Juliana Margulies and like thing, because
without the feud,
I would have liked to see them. Yeah, but like without the feud, they could have had a conversation. They could have mended things. They could have done things. They could have been in the same room. But we can't.
But the Peter stuff is only because of the feud, which is like,
right, exactly.
If not for the feud, Kalinda probably wouldn't even slept with Peter in the story. Like, it probably wouldn't have even happened.
Well, I still think that that's a good turn for Alicia's character, because I think it like gets her to like kick him out of the house and like do all the like go feel okay to be with Will. We could have done but that it could have been something else.
Yeah, we could have done that a number of ways without involving Kalinda. The scuttlebutt and the thought is that this whole storyline was brought about to separate Juliana Margulies and Archie Punjabi in the first place. So if there was no feud,
that is the reason why. Yeah. Like, from a character perspective, it could be all that crap I just said.
Yeah.
But like, from logistics standpoint, that is why.
Yeah. If it wasn't for the behind the scenes feud, Alicia and Kalinda would still be best buds right now. Like, they might have some other obstacle in their way, but they would get over it within a few episodes and be back to Alicia and Kalinda having drinks instead of Alicia and Celeste this episode, right? Like, I feel like they're auditioning new gal pals for Alicia to go have drinks with, because it's like, can't be Kalinda anymore. She gotta have drinks with somebody. But yeah, I do catch what you're saying about Kalinda. Like, it's not really even a thing to prove to Alicia that she doesn't F with Peter no more. It's just about herself to being like, Peter got me in trouble, the whole thing with Peter, so I just want to do away with all the Peter in my life.
Yeah. Yeah. Eli goes to visit Peter to say like, hey, I got great news. You could be the speaker at the DNC. And he's like, oh my God, get out. That's so amazing. And Eli is like, yes, I have gotten you a meeting with Donna Brazile, real life Donna Brazile, real DNC person, Donna Brazile.
Now formally.
Stunned.
Now formally.
Yeah, now formally. Yeah, like not, yes, agreed. Yeah, now formally. Yes. Peter is stunned. And Eli's like, that's why you hire me, to be stunned. But then Peter says, hey, Eli, I might be in the news because this like deal that I'm doing, I can't, like, I have to stay true to my ethics and my morals. And this is like something Eli doesn't want to hear. But he's like, okay, like just go have the conversation, see how it goes.
Eli's like, ethics, yuck. Like he's like, that's the ethics thing is like for real. Like it's not like the religion thing a few seasons ago. This is real.
Like this is sticking, yeah. And Eli also asks Peter, like, hey, like, why doesn't Kalinda want anything to do with you? And he's like, gotta go, bye.
Well, he literally says, I don't know. It's like, lie, you know why. It's just more like, it's just more evidence like, all right, Eli's gonna uncover this, and who knows what's gonna happen when he does.
And then Eli puts himself in dangerous territory with this conversation with Donna Brazile, because Donna can read the room. Like, she knows what's going on. She's like, we like the guy, but I'm really kind of worried about his marriage. And, you know, marriage at this time was a big conversation, still is a big, well, not so much anymore based on our current selection, but it is a conversation that comes up in political conversations, you know, like how people choose their spouses and what they do with their spouses, unfortunately, is part of the conversation. She's like, it's not good. Like, I could just tell you, like, something's up here.
And which is wild because, okay, who knows what in this world? Is Frank Landau just a freaking idiot because he doesn't see what Donna Brazile sees? Like, because Donna Brazile knows that the marriage ain't doing well. They're living apart. She knows they're living apart. And Frank Landau apparently doesn't know that. He's like, oh, they got a great marriage, right? And Eli's like, yeah. And then meanwhile, Donna Brazile's like, no, they don't. They're living apart. Like, so it's like, who knows at this point and who doesn't? Like, where is the line of like, how much of a secret is this? How much of a public thing is this? It doesn't feel like there's a lot of consistency in that line of thinking.
And Eli. Oh, Eli. Eli says to Donna Brazile, what if I could promise they'll stay together?
Right. And checks in your mouth. Right. And checks in your mouth that your ass can't cash.
It's like, you really can promise that, Eli? He's like, yeah. I can promise that. Like, he's confident. So much so that he wants to talk to Alicia when he gets back to the office to talk about their future or whatever, just check in. So we haven't seen that yet, but I do not like that Eli did this. I think this is dangerous in multiple ways, and it's going to force a lot of things to happen that we don't necessarily want our characters to be having to do.
Eli, it was so funny when Eli gets back. I was like, hey, Alicia, how are you? Like, when Eli smiles at you, you know something's wrong. And Alicia knows it too, because Alicia's like, what the hell? Like, she's looking at him like, what are you up to? What's the problem? Alicia's like so confused. She's like, okay, sure, we'll talk later, I guess. You're definitely up to something, Eli, because you don't smile like this unless you're up to something. And yeah, like you said, I just wonder, is like, what is, I honestly don't remember where this line goes, where this story goes, but is Eli going to get them together and be like, listen, I know something's up, but we're going to have to make a better show of this marriage. Is like, Peter, you're going to have to move back in with Alicia.
Yeah.
And make it look good. While she's trying to do this relationship with Will. That would be juicy. Don't get me wrong. I don't know. I don't remember if that's where it goes, but it wouldn't surprise me if just that's where it's going to go.
So unfair to Alicia. Like,
that's
this whole thing.
That's what the show was about.
I know.
It's unfair for Alicia.
I know, but it's still hard to watch, and it's still hard to see because I want Alicia and Will to have their time to figure out like what's going on, and what they want out of this relationship. Like, what are they? I want them to DTR. I want them to have time to DTR. I want them to do all of that. And meanwhile, we've got Celeste going, Will disappoint you. And then we've got Eli coming in saying, you're going to have to be a public family. And this is going to kind of cramp her style. And I just...
Listen.
I am sorry. I'm sorry, Marissa, for Alicia.
Alicia has had 3 or 4 full episodes where she can just be Alicia, right? She can F around with Will. She can feel free. It's time to get her back under the ball and chain. Okay?
Oh, is it?
She can only be happy and free for so long before we get her back under the thumb of Peter and Eli, okay?
What is so threatening about a happy woman? That's all I have to say. What is it, America?
Listen, don't get me started, right? You can go over to my other podcast under the Joe Rogan Network if you want to hear about that. The threat of the happy woman to an American lifestyle by Jason Reed. Welcome to my TED Talk.
Oh, if I ever hear that, I don't know. I don't know.
You would not be seeing the Good Pod feed anymore. Everything would be deleted. Marissa would block me out of all accounts. Block me on everything. Man. If you want to get on Marissa's bad side, that's exactly what you got to do.
Or like be a champion for Peter Florrick, but which could be two in the same thing. Like they could be the same. There's one final little thing that happens in this episode. It has to do with Grace. Peter finds out about Grace's tutor, and he's all like, "Hey, Alicia, what about this tutor? Like, what's going on?" And she's like, "Hey, I will take care of it. Oh, we need a fly swatter, not a bazooka." Ooh. And he's like, "Okay, I didn't say anything about it." He's pretty mad at the situation.
Yeah, I really like checking in on the dynamic between Peter and Alicia, because it's like, yeah, we still got a parent, so we're still going to talk about parent stuff. I can't just not talk to you. We can't just not have conversations. So I like that they're still able to kind of have these conversations in a way that's not like super aggressive or super, mad, where Alicia's just having this conversation as you would the father of your children. But Peter gets in his feels when she's like, "Yeah, I don't want you taking a bazooka to this thing. What's for a fly swatter?" He's like, "Girl, I was not trying to take a bazooka. I was just saying I can ask for some Rex. Like, what's the problem?" So I like seeing that where the relationship is right now.
Yeah, because we've only seen just like drop-offs and pickups, pretty much. We haven't seen a lot of conversations between the two of them. So yes, Alicia goes and meets with the tutor, whose name is Jennifer, which I just learned.
Yeah. I feel like this episode. Is the third episode.
I had no idea.
Yeah, this is the third episode we've seen this girl, and I was like, "Oh, that's her name. Jennifer's her name. Cool." And it's the most we've heard Jennifer talk so far, which is like not much anyway.
As much as this was such a small little storyline, I did enjoy this conversation because Alicia's like, "Why do you do the videos?" And she's like, "For the internet." I was like, "Do you get money?" "No." "Why do you do them?" "Because I like to do them." And Alicia's just like, "Okay."
And
I guess
it's such a funny conversation when you look at it in a 2025 lens, right? Because this conversation right here in 2012 or wherever we are is just kind of like you doing what now on the internet, huh? But then when you look at it in a 2025 lens, you're like, wait, you're not doing this for monetization. You're just doing this because, like, shouldn't you be doing this for money? Shouldn't you be on, like, have a YouTube thing? Shouldn't you? Because if you're not doing something for money on the internet anymore, what are you even doing?
Welcome to the Good Pod.
Yeah, we say this from a podcast so you make no money off of. But it's almost like what my wife asked me about this podcast. Like, so you're doing this for nothing? For free? Like, yes.
For fun.
Because it's fun. Well, so I shouldn't be too hard on Jennifer. Well, I'm not actually. But just the confusion of Alicia's face, like, so what is this? What?
Well, and I mean, okay, internet culture, what do we got at this point? We've got early Instagram, maybe some Vine. Mm-hmm. YouTube is not necessarily like in this, like YouTube is there, and YouTube, like, people are making YouTubes, but it's definitely like the time of the vlog and all of this stuff. And so, like, from my perspective, I'm like, Jennifer, you are a trendsetter. Like, you are ahead of the curve. You are ahead of the game. Just go write this down in your diary. I want to make an app called TikTok, and you're gonna be amazing. Like, she's so ahead of it.
Well, I mean, but Jennifer is not a social influencer, right? Like, she's just having fun.
She likes to do it.
Yeah,
she's just having fun.
You would look at Jennifer,
like, was also the vibe of the internet at that time. It's like, oh, I can make this. I can do this thing. These tools are available to me, so why don't I use them?
Yeah, and Alicia's looking at it from like the boomer point of view, like, what is this thing you're doing on the internet? You're taking videos of this? What are you even doing this for? And, I am fully Team Alicia in this situation for multiple reasons.
From a parenting perspective?
From a parenting perspective, because it's like, I hired you to be a tutor. What is all this? Because, as we hear, because we've talked about in the past episodes where the tutor, Jennifer, has shown up, where it's like, is this even working? Are they even doing studying? We do hear that Grace's grades in science are doing really well. So the tutoring part is working. But then you're looking at this like, okay, but I didn't hire you to be taking my daughter out places and dancing on the street. Like that's a little much. And then when you get to the age of it all, was like
she's 22.
She's 22. She looked 16, but she's 22. And I was like, oh, that makes this way different. Like she's 22, Grace is 14. It's like, yeah, I'd be very like, nah, myself, like, no.
Yeah.
Like you're gonna listen, Grace, the only thing you're gonna be doing is sitting in this house at the table in the living room doing studying.
Okay.
You're not going out anywhere with this 22 thing, though. Yeah, it is.
Grace is like, but Mom, you took away my only friend. Like this was it.
Okay.
And she says, okay, but Alicia's like, I'll think about it. And I'm just like, well, why don't you address the fact that she isn't making friends?
Yeah.
Instead, like have her hang out with kids her own age. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like, Grace, that's like, okay, I hear you, Grace, but that's kind of your thing. Why aren't you making more friends? Like, you should probably make friends your age. You should probably focus on that instead of making friends with this 22-year-old you're doing God knows what with out there on the streets. I would be very concerned myself if I was Alicia. Like, no, girl, you are not going anywhere with this 22-year-old out in the streets of Chicago. You are staying here. We're treating you like Zach in the computer. We're moving everything into the living room where I can see it, where I got eyes on it. And that's all that's going to happen. You're not going out in the streets with this 22-year-old that I barely know. Like, nah, we're not doing that. And, Grace tries to give her the guilt trip of all guilt trips. Like, well, you're always at work. And Alicia's like, nah, we're not doing that. Like, you're not going to play the work card.
What about church? I mean, is that where we're going to end up? Is she's going to be like, the only place I can make friends is at church?
What happened to Shannon? Shannon was your friend? Where's Shannon?
No, she moved or whatever. Yeah.
Where's Shannon?
Yeah, I don't know.
But I'm like, Grace, like, this is not the solution to I have no friends. The solution I have no friends is getting out there and making friends at school. Like what is the problem? This is the first we've heard of Grace not having friends. I'm just like,
yeah,
okay,
yeah,
like, that's weird.
And then I just I get that the conversation about like pulling the video stuff out of Grace's life needed to happen in this episode, but there was like no resolution. No. There was like, and so I'm like, this could have waited. This could have been somewhere. Like, I just was like, why here? Why now? Why is this? Other than the check-in with Peter at the beginning, I don't think this like story served anything in this particular episode. I'm sure it'll tie in going forward, but I just was like, we had a lot going on. I don't know if we needed this.
Yeah, this season with the kids feels like the King's like, we'll check in with one of the kids every episode. Like one episode will be Zach's episode, then Grace's episode, then Zach episode, then Grace episode. So yeah, it feels very weird that this was even like this little subplot. I aggressively don't care about the tutor and this subplot. I'm surprised you can spend this long on it, but it's just like, I don't know why this is even a plot in the show. I feel like you could have taken this plot out and it would not have affected a thing at all. But yeah, I did feel strongly once they were like, the tutor's 22 and Grace is 14, and they're out like hanging out on the streets of Chicago. I was like, yeah, that's a problem. Like, no.
The thing is that like 22-year-olds can go places 14-year-olds can't. And so,
And I mean, there is
I wouldn't want that. And there's like different lifestyles, different things.
There's a power balance
places in their lives.
Yeah, there's a power balance there. There is like, this tutor Jennifer might, because to me she comes off as a 16-year-old, but it's like, oh no, she's a 22-year-old, and I know that this, nothing weird is happening that we've seen so far, but it's like, just from an optics perspective, it's like, I'm with Alicia on this. Like, no, you can't be doing that.
Is that not a question that could have been asked when they were hiring her, though? Also,
I mean, I don't know why they let it get this far, because I'm sure they knew she was.
That's where I'm like,
I'm sure they knew she was 22 when they hired her. Like, they knew she was a college student, and at the first mention of Grace being like, "I'm going out with my 20-year-old tutor," I'd be like, "No, you're not."
What do you mean that?
You're staying home. You're not going outside of the house with this tutor. Like, nah, bro, not doing that. I was like, well, that's interesting. But yeah, we spent way too long on this plot line that I don't care about. You don't care about. I don't think anyone really cares about.
Well, that's our episode, everyone. There was a lot. There was a lot going on. We're kind of going to see what happens between Alicia and Will now that there's been some thinking, now that there's been some new conversations. The Eli, how much Eli will find out about Peter and Alicia is also kind of hanging out there in the air. And of course, Kalinda Watch 2025, 2012 is also happening.
Yeah. I feel like the Eli Peter thing is interesting because I feel like Eli is hesitant to really dive into this and be like, because I don't think he's really had a conversation with Peter about what's going on, bro. Like,
he hasn't brought anything up. He's just like, oh, okay, he won, moving on. Like, he's riding the high. He's riding the high from the win.
Yeah.
And he's like, governorship. That's where my eyes are. That's what I'm doing. And now he has to like realize that the foundation he thought he had, he does not have. Mm-hmm. It changed the night he was elected.
Yep.
Like it, and he never saw it coming.
Yep. So that will be very, very interesting to check out. Marissa, where are you?
Yeah.
Where are you at in the interwebs? What are you working on? Let all the peeps know.
I'm just doing things for fun, Jason. You know, like I do things on the internet because I can, like this podcast. So I'm hanging out here. I'm also, you can go to itsmemarissag.com if you want to see what's up in my other internet related things. And then also on Whirlwind Podcasts, I am part of a panel watching Pretty Little Liars, but only one previously on at a time. So I get a good less than 2-minute look at every episode as we watch it. And I don't really know anything about the show going in. So if you're a Pretty Little Liars fan, I think you have to have watched the show at least once all the way through to really get anything out of this podcast. But if that's you, it's called The Previous Little Liars, and you can check it out on the internet. Jason, what's going on with you?
That is such a fun experiment in podcasting too. That's really interesting. The previously on thing. For me, the only other thing I got going on right now is the podcast A Perfect Match. We have started a Patreon. Me and my co-host Asia Welch talk about the show Married at First Sight, and we are in between current seasons, so we are talking about old seasons. So we are almost to the end of the first season of Married at First Sight. Ooh. So if that's the thing that tickles your fancy, we're also throwing some other stuff in there, like interview with previous cast members of Married at First Sight, ratings and rankings of things. So if that's something that floats your boat, come check us out over on A Perfect Match at Patreon, patreon.com/perfectmatchpodcast. That is where we are if you want to check it out. But until next time, stay good.